Hey there, morbid maniacs. It's time for another spooky video, a part of Vlogtober. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be talking all about the legend of the Dybbuk Box. A Dybbuk Box is a wine cabinet which is said to be haunted by a Dybbuk. A Dybbuk is an evil, malicious spirit which was created in Jewish folklore. The Dybbuk is said to be a dislocated soul of a dead person. It leaves its host's body once it has accomplished its goal, and sometimes after being exorcised. Dybbuks are mostly male spirits who possess women on the eve of their wedding, typically in a sexual fashion. The Dybbuk Box was first heard of when it was auctioned on eBay by owner Kevin Mannis. Mannis had wrote a long description on the Dybbuk Box, stating that he had purchased it from a yard sale of a Holocaust survivor. The story goes that Kevin purchased the Dybbuk Box from this yard sale from the granddaughter of a recently deceased Holocaust survivor named Havela. She had escaped the Nazi-occupied Poland. Unfortunately, Havela's parents, brothers, sister, 2 young sons, husband, and daughter had all been killed. She and the other survivors fled to Spain, where they lived until the end of the war. Havela lived to be 103 years old. When Havela immigrated to the U.S., this wine cabinet was the only thing that she had brought with her. As Mannis paid for this Dybbuk Box, Havela's granddaughter had told him that her grandmother had kept it out of reach and never opened it because there was a Dybbuk which inhabited it. She continued to tell Mannis that this Dybbuk Box should never be opened, and if it was, that bad things would happen. Mannis did not heed her warning, and he took this Dybbuk Box back to his shop where he started to repair it. He was going to give this Dybbuk Box as a birthday present to his mother. Upon opening the cabinet, however, he found very strange items inside of it. There were 2 U.S. wheat pennies, which dated all the way back to 1925 and 1928. There were 2 locks of hair, a dried rosebud, a 4-legged candlestick, a golden wine cup, and a granite sculpture which had the word Shalom inscribed on it, which is Hebrew. The Shema, a prayer which is said to be the most important in Judaism, was carved on the back of the cabinet. Mannis gave this as a gift to his mother Ida on Halloween. Ida did an interview for the TV show Paranormal Witness back in 2012, where she described a cold breeze coming out of the box every time she opened it, and also a pure evil which came out of it. Immediately after opening up this Dybbuk Box, she had a stroke. Throughout the following 2 years, Manus and those around him were plagued with mysterious paranormal events. He began experiencing bug infestations, hair loss, and weird smells that seemed to be coming from the box. His sister had claimed that she was freaked out by the Dybbuk Box because its doors would open on their own. His brother and sister-in-law had claimed that there were odd smells which were protruding from the Dybbuk Box, such as cat urine and jasmine. Manus and his siblings would suffer from reoccurring nightmares of this old woman with sunken-in eyes. Manus also claimed that the brother of a store employee died by suicide shortly after visiting the shop and knocking the cabinet off the shelf. A few years later, the worker himself also took his own life. Manus at one point tried to give the Dybbuk Box to his, at the time, girlfriend, and after keeping it for a little while, she forced him to take it back. He then began to see shadow figures in his peripheral vision. It was then that Kevin Manus decided to list this item on eBay. He wrote a long, detailed product description where he dubs the item a Dybbuk Box. Manus's eBay listing described the strange events which took place to him and his family after bringing it home and how he got it. It was a very long paragraph of the story behind this Dybbuk Box. Toward the end of the description, Manus writes, "Help me." Owners after Manus who purchased the box had relisted this item and put up their own claims of paranormal events. One owner, Jason Haxton, director of the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine in Kirksville, Missouri, had even launched his own website called DybbukBox.com. It grew thousands and thousands of hits and was later called an internet legend. Paxton was a 54-year-old married father of two and had studied American antiques and ancient artifacts for decades. He was completely fascinated by the mysterious wine cabinet. He had originally intended on giving this box to a friend, but his friend refused to take it. Paxton was skeptical about all of these stories that Manus had put on the description of his listing and those that others had put on their listing, I'm assuming. That was until similar events began to plague him. It wasn't long after Haxton had purchased the box off of Manus that strange things began to happen. Paxton claimed that as soon as the box arrived in the mail that he put his hands on it, and it felt as though the box was turning into liquid. He also stated that upon getting this box that it felt as though a knife were coming through his gut and he was paralyzed in pain. Jason had even wrote a book about the Dybbuk Box where he described the events that happened to him upon purchasing it. In his book, he talks about how the box caused him to bleed from his eyes, random choking attacks, and this reoccurring nightmare of this creepy old woman in the first few months after buying it. Paxton had tested the box for certain metals such as mercury and biohazards, but all of the tests came back negative. He interviewed former owners of the box and did his own research on the Dybbuk. Paxton also spoke to rabbis and scientists who advised him to put the box in a wooden container lined with gold to stop the destructive force, whether that was an evil spirit or an electromagnetic field. Paxton did just that and claimed his medical problems disappeared. The Los Angeles Times published an article about the box in July of 2004. Now, there are two different things that I was reading on this box on what actually happened to it after this. And in one of them, it said that Haxton had put this box inside of a military-grade shock-proof container and buried it where no one could find it. But I also read that he had gave this haunted item to Zach Bagans, who is the leader crew member of the Ghost Adventures team, to be placed inside of his haunted museum. In 2004, Haxton sold the rights to the story to a Hollywood production company, and this was the inspiration for the 2012 horror film, The Possession. I just wanted to throw in here that The Possession has always been one of my favorite horror movies. One, because it's just really good and scary, and two, because it has one of my favorite actors in it, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and like any movie or show that he plays in, I'm completely obsessed with it. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest going to watch it. And there were supposedly strange events which took place on the movie set as well. From then on, the Dybbuk Box has captured the attention of thousands. You can buy Dybbuk boxes of all shapes and sizes on Etsy, eBay, and there's a special website that is specifically dedicated to them, which is called the Dybbuk Box store. Although I don't really suggest going to do that. You can even watch people open them up here on YouTube. I don't remember the guy's name. I'll have to Google it and like place it in here, but there's like this video of this guy on YouTube opening a Dybbuk box up in his home, and right after he does, like tons of stuff starts happening, tons of paranormal, like weird stuff starts happening. And Zach Bagans has apparently had quite a few experiences with the Dybbuk box himself. And singer Post Malone also had his own paranormal experience when he was investigating the box on the Ghost Adventures show. Now, I don't know what is true and what isn't, but according to some sources, I read that Kevin Mannis had actually made the whole story up to make money. So, I don't know what's true and what's not, but I definitely believe there is a such thing as a Dybbuk and a Dybbuk box, and it's something that I would not dare. There's the story of the Dybbuk box. What do you guys think of this creepy legend, this creepy item? Would you like for me to make more videos on stuff that inspired, like real events that inspired horror movies? Because I have already kind of started a series on that with The Conjuring. If you have not seen any of those videos, I will link them in the description box below so you can go check them out, or just somewhere in this video for you guys to see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and become a morbid maniac. And be sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And I have an OnlyFans account where I will be posting all of my sexier content, so if you are also interested in that, the link is always in the description box below, so you can go check that out. But I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.